Alright, let's see what you said in your fire. You're new to Yone, you usually you usually play Stars and Echo, but you want an AD champ as well. You tried Ari, Vex, and Veigar, but it didn't fit you as much as melee champs. I think you're very inconsistent when you play, and you usually don't know how to snowball your leads if you get one. Okay, well, let me get up my notepad thing. I always do that. This will be Yone versus Lux. Lux coaching. Alright, let's get into this. Let me just check if you can see my mouse. Yep, you can. Alright, so this matchup, I think you've got yeah, looks like you've got all the perfect runes and items here, so... Oh, only thing is I think you should probably have attack speed in your shards here. Yeah, I'm not really... No, I think attack speed is better. Maybe you don't need it with lethal tempo and alacrity, but I always take attack speed, although I haven't actually checked to see if, like, maybe you reach the attack speed cap pretty early, even without it in runes, but anyway, minor details. So yeah, in the early game here, you should be letting this wave kind of come to you, so I'm not too big a fan of how quickly you're like looking to push this out, so well, let me go your vision real quick. But in my opinion, it's like you want this wave kind of on your side early, or you should, because otherwise you kind of like take too much harass. Like if the wave ends up here, like you're vulnerable to Gangster Volibear, obviously you can get traded on really easily by Lux. So I think like your goal here is to either match her orders and like keep the wave perfectly in the middle, or just let it come to you. Because it looks like here, when you kill both of these, I guess it's still pretty even. It's just a little scary, you know, I think... Okay, if this ends up coming to you, it's fine. Okay, yeah, that's fine, I think. Maybe it would be better, though, if it were a bit closer to you, because it is... You are taking, like, quite a bit of damage for the CS, but you have enough, You have enough sustain that's probably fine. I would also probably take W second in this matchup. I think that, like, you should be looking to... She's probably going to E you, and you should look to W a creep for the extra HP. So I think, again, W second probably a little bit better. But, I mean, you could use your E to CS as well, I suppose. Okay, a little misplay there, but that's honestly fine. But yeah, I think this trade isn't... It's not bad for you, really, but it doesn't really achieve that much either. I think it would have been a lot better to take W second here. Just make sure you're a bit higher on HP, because you can see, like, you've lost quite a bit of HP for free here. So one thing you should always look at is, like, how much damage you're going to take, like, per creep, right? So the ideal is that you only take one auto attack per creep. Like, you see how you got that creep? She auto attacked you once, that's fine, because you have second wind, you have Doran's shield. Now, if you take any more than that, generally it's not going to be worth it. And so, like, obviously Lux can throw E at you and there's not really much you can do about it, so that's why you need to have your W to trade back, or rather to get the shield, and that way the E that Lux hits you with doesn't do as much. So now if you are going to go for a trade like this, like, I can understand you want to go with Q2, but I think, like, because you're... Like, just generally, you want to look to harass when they waste cooldowns, right? So, when you're looking to go in on this Lux here, it's like, while you are strong because you have, like, your Q2 ready, she still has her E and her Q up. And these are long cooldowns. You see, 11 seconds and 10 seconds. So, if she uses one of these, then it's, like, way easier to look for this. But I think here, it's like, okay, even if you have Q2, you just take a really short trade, like, Q2, auto attack, go back. Like, maybe that's fine. But I think here, it's like, you would be going into, like, you know, 3 range creeps. So you're going to take a lot of minion damage, as you can see, right? And she has all her cooldowns up. And to be honest, I think she took more orders than she needed to. Like, let's look at this. So, like, at this point, right? If she Qs you and just, like, walks back while autoing, like, see how she's walking to the side and it's still in your auto range? Like, she doesn't need to do that, right? So, I think, yeah, I would probably not go for trades like that in the early game. Just, like, try and trade a bit more when her cooldowns are down. Like, so that Q was actually good if you were thinking about that. So, like, let's just speed back up to that. Like, here, if you're actually, like, timing the cooldowns, like, she doesn't have either of them up, quick trade would be absolutely fine. But this is, like, a pretty... But then, yeah, you're kind of too far forward. This is a pretty bad spot to be in, because I don't think you really have kill threat over Lux. And in theory, she doesn't really have threat over you. But if you get too low, then it becomes hard for you to actually CS creeps. So, yeah, I'd say so far, maybe the cooldown punishment. Okay, so, like, right now, just use Q, you can just E forward. Okay, very nice. And you have Wukong here as well. Okay, she just doesn't. What the hell? She has both sums, right? Yep. Okay, and she just doesn't want to use either of them. I swear she's out. If she just... Probably have to use them both, to be fair, but... Okay, whatever. So that's really good for you. You should... now let's see. Okay, now here you actually have a couple options. You could base with this wave pushing to you. Like, you can... Actually, I think it is better if you... I would probably... well, it depends how high you value your TP. Okay, so I'll show you the two things you can do. If you push this wave, you will get more gold overall, but she will also get more gold. So you can't really push this, like, all the way in time to make sure that she gets, like, none of this wave, right? Like, she's always going to get some of this wave because it just takes you a really long time to push it. Now, if you instead choose not to push it, you could quickly base here, and then either come back, and if Volibear looks to push it, then you can TP and freeze it, and if Volibear doesn't look to push it, then you can just base and save your TP. Now, the only issue with that is obviously you base with less gold, but I think the optimal play right now is to base with Boots and Dagger. This is pushing in, so it will deny Lux this entire wave, whereas I think if you push it, it's like, yeah, you're going to get a bit more gold, but the wave state is now worse for you. Like, it's pushing to her. Yeah, you're kind of forced to stay. Yeah, okay. So I think this actually did end up being a pretty big deal. So just, like, when you do get a kill, just quickly evaluate if the wave is pushing to you or not, because oftentimes you can just instantly base with a frozen wave. And if it's, like, if the wave's too big, you can thin it out a little. Like, I think killing this creep would be fine, and then basing. Or killing the cannon and then basing could be good as well. But yeah, so... you could prioritize your wave state a little more. This kind of ends up not super great for you, I think. Yeah, no, this is quite bad, as you can see. So, you're kind of stuck here. Yeah, okay, so this ward, it doesn't really do anything for you. Just in general, like, I can sort of understand why you wanted to ward this, because you want to get back to the wave, right? Like, you don't want to lose creeps, but just this ward, it never really tells you anything. As you can see, it doesn't show people entering or exiting your jungle. So, like, if you have a lot of time, ideally you ward this bush here, right? But if you don't, just ward right here. Like, one thing I think lower elo players don't realize is, like, wards don't have to be in bushes. You can literally just place it in the middle of the river, and it'll like, save you time and give you a ton of vision. So, like, and also, it's like, okay, because you warded this, you should be hugging to this side. But it's like, this isn't actually safe for you, because it doesn't give you any real vision. But it's like, you know, you're actually hugging away from your ward. So it's like, you know, if you want to hug this side, then you should ward up here, you know. Or if you do want to ward bot side, you should be hugging bot side. But, like, this ward doesn't actually help you. And as you can see, Volibear kind of comes behind you. Okay, but that's fine. Like, okay, you lost flash, but it's recoverable. Like, you kind of have two chances to make mistakes, right? Your first mistake caused you to lose flash, and now as long as you play intelligently around having no flash, it's not the end of the world, I guess. Not the end of the world. Okay, so now, when you come back on the map here, you do want to try get a bit better vision for yourself, so I would probably try push this wave in. Like, yeah, normally you do want the wave just on your side, but it would be really good if you could, yeah, probably on this wave, push the wave out and secure some vision for yourself. Because right now the vision around mid is very, very poor. So I would probably be hard pushing this wave. If she uses a cooldown like that, you could look to trade on her. Yeah, okay, nice. That's really good. You're playing really aggressively with that. I probably would have queued that wave. Like, okay, this ward, it's... I don't think this ward is really that good either. So... I think, like, in general, pinks in these bushes tend to be better because then they allow you to put your yellow wards deeper in the jungle, right? Like, if you use your pink here and then ward here, it's way less pressuring than if you, like, pink here and then, like, ward on their jungle camp, right? The only reason, really, to place these sort of pinks is, one, if you want to kind of, like, secure, like, a roaming corridor for yourself. So, like, for example, this is really common when you're playing roaming champs and want to run bot. It's like, you pink this bush so that you know that they don't have it warded, and then you can always just go back and forth through here, which pressures the map a lot. But this, it doesn't really do much against volley, and yeah, just, like, you have a lot of time here, and so you should look to get wards that are really pressuring. So I think it's either like, it's like pink one of these bushes, either the top one or the bot one, and then look to get a ward on their camps. So either like raptors, you could even deep ward here, you could ward wolves or something. It's basically like at this point of the game, pinks kind of take the role that yellow wards had before of keeping you safe. And now you can use your yellow wards to kind of get more information for your team. So you come here and ward. I mean, it's decent, right? Like, those wards I think will keep you safe, but they're not super helpful to your team. I would not use your E like that. Just because, like, okay, even if you, like, let's say you dodge this harass, right? Even if you, like, okay, let's say you E this successfully and you dodge that ability. It's like you just used a 22-second cooldown for a 9-second cooldown. It's just, like, not really going to be worth it. And you're not really close to running out of HP either. So you should think a lot about that, because that's, like, your one tool to being aggressive. And if you don't have that, then, well, it doesn't do anything. Okay, so you saw Volibear bot side, so you're pretty safe to just hug the bot side, which is all good. You have ult. I would be trying to crash this wave. Nice. So you can take a... Okay, so if you are going for a trade, like I was saying before, if you are going for a trade like this, when she has her cooldowns up, you need to make it a really short trade. It needs to be literally like an EQ auto and then get out. Maybe you can fit in a W if you have enough attack speed. So like EQ. Okay, yeah, I think if you W'd autoed and then pressed E, because you like W'd the wrong way, but if you W'd auto and then pressed E, you would get out. But the longer this trade becomes, see how it gets like way worse? Like at the start, this trade is actually good for you, right? So just slow it down. If this is an EQ, W, auto, E, that's a pretty nice trade. That's like maybe 150, 200 damage. That's pretty good. But the longer you stay here, like, yeah, okay, you get an extra auto, but you go from what, 850 HP down to 450. So you take an insane amount of damage for that last extra auto. So you should keep that. Well, yeah, the two things are, one, like, you should probably try harass more when they don't have cooldowns. Or like engage more on them when they don't have cooldowns. But if they do have cooldowns, then you need to make it a very, very short trade. I'm not sure what your plan was here. So, like, I think this, at the moment, is fine, right? I think you have a lot of opportunities to get away from this. First, like, you probably just Q away when she casts her Q, right? But even if you get hit by this, like, you can still just ult to safety, right? Like, you will live if you just ult here. Instead, you just kind of die for free, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So, like, yeah, you can live here, but it's also just... Part of the problem is that you took so much free damage in that trade before, right? And then also, it's like... Because you took that trade, remember that you have a 20-second cooldown. So part of mid lane is, like, not just abusing, like, your opponent's cooldowns, but also respecting your own cooldowns. So right now, you're playing insanely aggressive, even though you have no E and no W. Like, you're literally, like, walking up to the wave. She has pretty much every cooldown up, and you're missing, like, your most important cooldown. Like, right now, this wave is pushing to you, I think. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, okay, so there's more... This should push to you, especially if she's Eing the wave. Although she's only Eing it, I guess, because you're in it. But I think this should push to you. So you don't really have to run up to this wave, but, like, you know... Like, let's say this happens, and you have E. Like, you could EQ the Lux and then ult her and maybe kill her, but... Yeah, so the cooldown thing is a big issue, I think. But anyway, we got the tier 2 boots. What are we doing here? I guess we're just scouting for pink woods. I like that. Okay, yeah, I like that. Okay. Now, I probably wouldn't push in this wave, honestly. I would let this wave come to you, so... Especially as melee champs, it's obviously much... If you want to go for, like, kills and trades and stuff, it's, like, way better if the wave's on your side, right? Like, you probably know that, because you kept the wave closer to you earlier in the game. But if you push a wave, you need to be thinking, like, what can I do with this? Because every time you push a wave, right, it essentially, especially if you're the melee champ versus a range champ, it essentially gives them a wave for free, because there's nothing you can do to them up here, right? Like, it's too far up. So whenever you push a wave, or whenever you are intending to push a wave, you need to think about, like, what am I going to do with this? So, like, right now, I'd be thinking, like, okay, things I can do, I can roam, I can base, I can ward, maybe I can hit tower or something. So clearly you can't hit or harass Lux under tower. Like, Lux is too annoying. She has too high wave clear and she has CC, so that's not a play either. You can't roam bot, I don't think. Because you just don't have enough control here, really. Like, okay, if Wukong is like where Volibear is, maybe you can run bot and 4-man dive. You definitely can't gank top because Malphite's like full HP with ult. So that's not a play. And you don't have any wards up yet. So I think like you're just pushing this wave, but basically no reason. Like I don't think you can do literally anything with this priority. So all you're really doing here is just giving her away for free and making it more dangerous for you. Because like right now, because this wave crashed under tower and these 3 waves are stacked, or those 3 creeps are stacked, like see how their wave, like this always happens, right? When you crash a wave under tower, it always bounces back because their creeps will all hit the same target. See how your ranged autos are going to different creeps, but all 3 of their ranged autos are going to this creep here. So this will push back to you if you just wait. So I'm not sure if you knew that would push back to you, so maybe you felt like you needed to crash it. But I think, yeah, it's like one that's going to push back to you is safer for you if it's on your side. And you don't get anything with this priority. You queued forward, which was honestly pretty bad, but... I think the reason you probably queued forward here was that she did use her ult, but it's not like you were EQing forward. This was like a regular queue, and you're down a level, and you're down items, right? So earlier in the game, right, when you guys were more even, cooldown advantage mattered a lot because, you know, all other things being even, it was like the cooldowns making the difference. But right now, she's a level up on you, and she's also up like a lot in items. Like she's just way stronger than you at the moment. And also just like positionally, if you guys fought to the death in the middle, maybe you win because she can't like burst you down, right? Before you kill her. But it's like you have no real way to extend this trade here. Like, okay, let's say you get the EQ knock up and it hits her. Like, what can you do after that? It's not like you can ult her. So, no matter what happens here, it's going to be a short trade, which is not the sort of trades that Yone wants. So, you just lose a lot of your health for free again. And like now... By the way, now that the wave is actually in a good spot for you, you're kind of just too low to trade. So like, okay, let's say instead of being half HP, you're full HP here, right? Then I think this actually looks pretty good. In fact, you could maybe kill her. Yeah, like I'm pretty sure, right? Okay, so she has sums. Okay, it's like, yeah, you know, if you could stay on it, you had Q, you could quickly knock her up, ult her, or you could even, like, ult Q her here or something. Like, I think if you're full HP, you'd actually be in a pretty good spot. So I like what you're doing with the wave here. Yeah, this is really good. Especially because you're going to have TP soon. So yeah, you keep the wave close to you, which is good. Makes her very gankable. Obviously, if she uses her Q, I could... say you could probably look to kill her. If she uses either, I'm not sure. Damn. That was a nice try. So I honestly think it's like sort of the same thing. Actually, no, it was a good try by you. It was a really good try. So let's look at this. Actually, no, you don't have flash. Never mind, I thought you had flash. Okay, so if you go for this, I think again, you take this trade and then you just E back. If you have flash and you can flash her Q, that would be like really well played and you could probably kill her. But I think it's unfortunate for you that Nami showed up here. But I think like you can still be happy with the trade. You just need to make sure you E back before you get queued. Like I think that's the most important thing. Because if you don't get queued here, like, you know, you just take the trade, you go back. And if you don't die here, like your team just won in the river because their Nami was mid, right? So if you literally just, you know, let's see. Right here, this is good. Nice ult. W, one more auto, E. Just like E back now, you're completely fine. But you overstay just a tiny bit too long, and it ends up being pretty bad. So yeah, that sucks. I also think, if we go... Hold on, I kind of want to go back. Let me just go really far back. Okay, so I think, like, you're building Berserkers, right, at this point in the lane. I think after Berserkers, you should probably just rush Vamp Scepter. So, like, right here, you buy a dagger, but I actually think you probably build Vamp Scepter. Oh, wait, actually, you're probably rushing... Are you rushing Bork or Shield? I mean, either way, you can build a Vamp Scepter, right? So I think, like, especially if you're versus a Poke Mage mid, like, Berserkers into Vamp Scepter, or even Vamp Scepter into Berserkers are both really good. But like at this point, I think you could definitely have Vamp Scepter by now, and that would be, it would be really, really hard for Lux to deal with you at this point. Okay, now pushing this wave is good, so you know Lux was on like really low HP. You're able to get a turret plate, you're able to get wards, so this is really different from that like wave that you just pushed for fun earlier, basically. So this is fine. I don't think this guy can kill you. Yeah, you're fine. Sucks that you lose a lot of HP to that guy. Well, I'm not sure about another wave. Yeah, I think that's pretty greedy. So I think what you do here, after this guy takes all your HP, like that sucks. I think now, probably you come take this honey fruit, and then you can go back to laning. Or you just base and run back to lane because it's a cannon wave. Or you wait for this wave to come to you, and then you kill it, and then you base and TP. So there's like a few options you can do, but I think pushing is like basically the last thing you can do, because you know their jungler's nearby, and you're really low on HP. Okay, so you traded flashes, which is honestly not too bad. But it could have been avoided. Definitely could have been avoided. Okay. Yeah, you're just like so far behind in items. You kind of just need to scale up before you do much here. Okay, I think the ward could... This pink could be further out, and that ward could be deeper in, but it's fine. You see Lux top, so pushing this is all good. How much gold do you have? 950. Okay, now I don't... Yeah, okay, you got the Vamp Scepter. That was all good, I think. Yeah, now, maybe now you can start to be kind of aggressive. Nice wave positioning. Now, she's pretty low mana. I think you could just look to trade on her. Yeah, I like this. Okay, and then volley shows up. Okay, that was really good, by the way. Like, that's kind of what you should be doing the other times. Like, you know, you go on her, it's like, you get the EQ, or even if you miss the EQ, you can just use your E to, like, dodge the Q, and then, you know, it's fine. So that was really good. You got, like, all their cooldowns, and I think you're fine? You don't look too fine. What happened here? Actually, you probably should have ulted right now. I think you took too long to ult. Yeah, okay. I think if you'd ulted a lot earlier, you'd be fine. Either Volibear would be CC'd on the tower, or you just get out. So, again, could have played that better. If we look at that from like a macro point of view, like, let me just look at that. So, probably the scariest time in the game, well, actually, I was going to say is when you come back on the map and you don't have vision, but you actually placed vision before, but it was just that you were kind of hugging away from it. Like, let's see. So you TP back, right? If you're doing this from the bot side of the lane, it's very different, right? Like, all your vision is right here. If you're EQing Lux from bot side, it's so much safer than if you're EQing her from top side. Which I'm pretty sure is what you did, right? Okay, right now this is really good. Yeah, okay. So it's just like you're starting from the wrong side. Like if your E, rather than being up here, is like down here, then you can always get away from Volibear. So it's just like hugging to the wrong side. You end up right next to Volibear, and you kind of die for free. Okay. Then you shove this in. That should be fine. I think you're actually kind of strong enough to fight her now. I like this ward. I think that's a much better ward than the ones you've been placing. It's just like, it just gives you a bit more knowledge. Even though Nami instantly clears it, at least she moves her pink from bot to mid, so that's pretty nice. Xerath did miss a few skill shots. What the hell? He's just standing still. Okay, I mean, this is all fine. Like, you still got decent CS. Well, not decent, but passable. Passable CS. Okay, you've lost a lot of your health for free. Here, you probably just... I think if you lose all your HP like this, like, it sucks. And that means, like, you can't really pressure anything anymore. But I'd say the worst thing you can do now is to try and fight. Like, I think you either just instantly base and get back on the map to pressure, or you just try and lifesteal off mid. I think just like, I don't know what this is. It's like trying to find a way into the fight or something. Just seems like a massive waste. Okay, come mid. Okay, now Lucian is mid, so you should probably go to a side lane now. You should... Okay, or is Lucian staying bot? Well, one of you should go side. So it looks like it's Lucian. You get this. Okay, Lily is mid. You can farm top. This is great. So you see everyone bot. You should just, like, actually AFK push top pretty much. You'll get so much gold for doing this. I would say you should probably push another wave and then come Krugs. Just because it's like, if your team is doing this, I think you need to deny this wave. Because, well, let's see. It's like, you basically want to push the wave to tower and then do the camps, ideally, because that way they lose the wave, right? So let's say, instead of doing these Krugs right now, you're pushing this wave. They're going to lose all these creeps. And you get and then, you know, you get those creeps. And then you go Krugs and then you go Raptors. So this is good. It is good, like, don't get me wrong, but it could be even better. If you realize that, like, well, I mean, you know, you are doing the right thing. You can just do it a little more efficiently. I get it's sort of weird because, like, this tower is dead and normally you just push it to here. But because you knew everyone was bot, like, you're fine to push this in all the way. You just, like, clear this wave, Krugs, Raptors. But this still is really good. It just could have been a little better. Like, see how Lux gets, like, most of this wave? And also, so you missed 6 creeps, right? And she also got, like, that whole wave. So... yeah, actually, it did end up being kind of big, but I do want you to know that it was good. Like, what you did just could have been better. Oh, that guy's a madman. Yeah, nice. Okay. This is really good. Oh, what? How'd you die? You just taking an extra tower shot or something? Ah, okay, well that sucks. That sucks. At least Malphite got the kill. But you got so much gold off that, so you're going to get item super, super strong at this point. Now, what are you building second? Because I think if you are going shield bow first, you should probably be going... I guess you could still go Bork second. Well, yeah, no, Bork second is actually fine. Okay, coming back on the map. So this is really good. Because you push the wave most of the way in, the wave is going to bounce back, which is awesome, because that means you're going to get to go up and farm that. Nice flank. Yeah, this is well played by you. Yeah, you played that fight really well, I think. Sucks that you don't have ult, but... okay, yeah, nice. You team for that super, super well. But I think, okay, after this, though... like, you should be thinking this whole time, you actually want to get back to top pretty much as soon as possible, so you can start pushing that wave in. So I think, like, right now, as soon as this Malphite dies, unless you feel like you can flash chase this Nami down, like, you're kind of wasting time. Like, I think you need to get back to top. Yeah, just run top right now. Okay, no, this is, like, really bad. So, in comparison, well, okay, if you're going to base and TP top, I guess this is okay. But this is, like, really bad compared to, like, what you would be doing. Because, like, while you're here, it's like you're sharing gold and XP. Well, you're sharing XP with 3 people. Like, the Lilia, Xerath, and yourself. And you're sharing gold with Lilia because she's farming, right? Like, she's the top laner. Whereas, like, if you're top right now, you're, like, shoving this wave. You're lifestealing off the wave. You, again, get to push this all the way in. And you get to take Krugs again. So you get so much fucking gold if you just come top right now. If you stay mid... like, maybe it's understandable if you base TP to this. Okay, I mean, I don't mind the blue. I think given that you're here, you might as well do the blue. Okay. Yeah, I mean, okay, given that you made the decision, I think what you did afterwards is good. But I think overall, this is a lot worse. Like, I think Wukong getting all this gold is so much worse than if you were getting this gold. Like, you scale so much harder than Wukong. It's ridiculous. And also, like, you could have pressured the map a lot if the wave got in here. You could have taken Krugs, maybe taken red. You get some kills here, but it's nowhere near as efficient as it would have been otherwise. But, you know, okay. It's okay. Alright, so you're going to be contesting this drag. I think you should base TP if you want to fight this. So the reason is that, like, you have 1800 gold, which is like 6 kills worth of gold. If you base TP, like, you're so strong right now. If you don't, you're just at a huge gold deficit. Or not, like, maybe not even a deficit, but you just have like a ton of gold unspent. So you're going to fight this without ult and with 1800 gold in the bank. Honestly, you probably win the team fight anyway because your team is really far ahead. But, like, you only need 8 seconds to base TP, and then you're super strong, right? Or I guess you need a bit more than that. You need like 12 seconds. Okay, you can probably kill Nami, I'm guessing. Oh, you just got rooted. That sucks. Yeah. So you haven't really done anything so far except just get chunked out for free. And I think that's a couple of reasons. First off, well, no. Actually, the main reasons is you're just, like, not really going for the right targets here. And admittedly, it is sort of hard. So your main targets, I would say, the most important members of the enemy team are this Lux, MF, and Nami. Like, if you can kill any of those 3, that's great. Killing Volley or Malphite, honestly, pretty irrelevant. So I would say here, you're EQing in, but there's just, like, not much you could do. So I think, like, yeah, you didn't expect MF to be there, but I don't know. Just overall, it doesn't look that great. You've kind of lost all your HP on useless targets. I think maybe what you should have done is... but you don't know where any of them are. It is sort of hard. And it's kind of unfortunate that you EQ'd into this, because I think if you wait like 1 more second and then you see Lux here, and you look instead for the EQ onto Lux, it could be a lot better. I guess you just didn't have enough information, and also you're just, like, sort of weaker than you should be, so... I'll give you a pass on this one, but I'm not sure if you, like, really thought about those things anyway. But admittedly, it was kind of hard in this one. Okay, this is really good by you. I would say don't even go for this tower. Like, I'm pretty sure those camps are still up. So I would say let Lucian get the tower and just, like, go look at this red and Crows. Okay, nice. Yeah, I like that. A little slow, but good decision making. This is really good. You get all this money. Yeah, I like shoving the top wave as well. Like, no one's here to contest you for it. I think if you're really greedy, you run and do Raptors right now. Because I don't think anyone can stop you. Like, looking at this, it's like, because you have TP, you can afford to be, like, to really overstay on the map. Like, I think if you don't have TP, basing now is probably good. But because you do have TP, I think you can do these Raptors and then base TP. I don't think that anything's going to happen, but I don't mind basing. Okay, so you have the book. You're very strong. I think here... Let's back up a bit. Okay. Okay, so yeah, Lucian's going red, so you taking the mid wave is fine. And then... Okay, Lilia wants to go top, which is weird. She should go bot. Okay, and Lucian... Okay, whatever. Lane assignments are really weird, but you do the best you can, given that... You know, there's... You just find as much gold as you can in the time, which is good. Like, if Lucian's not mid, obviously you should be. If you're getting a lot of CS during this time. Now, shoving out bot, this is risky in solo queue. It is, I think, on a high level. Actually, no, you have TP. No, you have TP. It's fine. I was just, yeah, I don't know. Just be, no, it is good. I will say it is good. Just be extremely careful of doing this without TP. Just because, like, in solo queue, your team will always fight. Especially when Baron's up. So, okay, you should be watching, you should be paying close attention to mid right now. Probably not a TP angle yet. Okay, yeah, good TP. Good TP. I like that a lot. Okay, now keep in mind here who the most valuable targets are. If you get it. I don't really like how you played this. I don't think. So, in my mind, it's like, okay, Lux, MF, Nami, most valuable targets, right? Right here, you have a free kill onto Lux after she missed her Q. Like, you can just E, R, or even just E and chase her and probably kill her. Now, if you're not going for that, it's probably so that you can ult this MF now that she's been Lilia ulted, right? So, like, right here, you also have a free ult onto MF and Nami. So, like, if you're not going for Lux, you have to be going for them instead, right? Instead, it's like you're just hitting Volibear. Like, this guy, he's useless. You're ulting this guy, and he doesn't matter. He's literally irrelevant to the fight. So, this is super bad, because you have... you have like the perfect flank. You actually have such a good flank. Like your decision making going into this is really, really good. Perfect flank. You're extremely strong. You know, you're up a level on Lux. You're up 2 levels on MF. And like you even have all the setup. Like she's Lily ulted and stuff. And so if you mess up at this point, it like almost doesn't matter how fed you are in other games. And this is why like if you struggle to kind of extend your lead, this is why, you know, because your target prioritization in this fight is just, it's terrible. Like there's no other way to put it. It's like MF, Nami, Lux were all there, and you're choosing to hit Volley, who's like full tank. He's already 1 HP, so he can't contribute anything to the fight anyway, and you lose all your health for it. That's super bad. That should have probably been GG, honestly, because I'm thinking if you kill these two, you can probably take like 2 inhibs and then end the game. But good recovery after the fight. Coming to take Krugs is good. Coming to take top wave is good. Now your team wants to fight, I think. Do they? Okay. So you base, come back on the map. You have ults in a few seconds. Does she have ult? Not yet. I like that you're farming a lot of camps. That's really good. You're doing that really well. Okay, so here, once again, like, thinking about who the most important targets are. Okay, yeah, this is good. Like, this is good. Even though you die, this is so much better. Because, like, you know, before... Oh, okay, let's see if you've done the wrong thing. Let's see if here, instead of ulting... Well, I guess, like, both the tanks just happened to be on her. But if you had just ulted both these tanks, it would have been super bad. I think you probably could have lived here. I think if you WQ'd, instantly E'd... maybe not, actually. It was pretty fast. But either way, you did a ton of damage, and I think you win your team the fight there. And I think... Yeah, I think you won your team that fight, kind of. Let's just see if there's anything better beforehand. I guess, like, the only thing would be... Maybe you... It would be kind of advanced, but I think maybe you instantly flash so that you're not in her ult, so you don't take any damage, and then you E-ult them. Because you see, the problem is, like, before you go in, you're almost already dead. So I think if you're actually playing this on a super high level, instantly flashing, or even just, like... What the fuck is that sound, by the way? Okay, that's super weird. But yeah, so you lost a lot of your health before going in. I think if your mechanics, or not even mechanics, like if your team fight knowledge is insane, you could probably flash and win the fight like that. But it was a pretty good try anyway, and definitely not as bad as the other one, because at least like you were hitting the right target, right? Here you don't have any side wave to go to. Yeah, this is all good. You're farming what you can. Yeah, you're getting a lot of CS. Yeah, this is all really good. You have nothing else to do. Starting Baron, I like it. You guys have a lot of sustain. You do Baron really fast. I don't think they can contest. Smart Baron. You have TP, so you can afford the side lane. What are you basing for? IE? Okay, that's fine. Actually, I'm just going to talk about this for a sec. So, like, normally after you get Baron, if you want to like try and match your tempo with your team. So if your team's basing, you kind of want to base with them, and if your team's not basing, then you kind of want to stay on the map. Now you have TP, so you can kind of cheat that, and I think this is okay. Like, you are a little late on the map, but buying IE is like an insane power spike, right? But just be like really careful about, like, let's say you needed 2 waves and then you base, you would have to TP back on the map, because you'd just be like so far behind your team in tempo that you'd never be able to catch up to them. Also, I think these Raptors right now, probably not it. So, again, it's like, you know, I agree. Normally taking these Raptors is good, but like you have Baron. This is like the one time of the game where efficiency kind of goes out the window. Like, you have to just push here. You've just got to use this Baron like as well as you can. Just like group with your team. It's like the only time of the game really where grouping 4 or 5 is somewhat acceptable, I guess, other than like dragons and stuff. So if you do this, again, it's like you can't really catch up to your team, right? Like, they're getting engaged on and you're really, really late to the fight. I think, yeah, like, it is their fault for getting engaged on, right? Like, that's not your fault. But the reality is, like, this is what happens with Baron. Like, if people know, or if people notice, like, someone is not there, they will pull the trigger. And because they have to, because once it starts getting sieged, like, they're fucked, right? So here, there's an argument even for TPing to this wave. Like, I know it's a tiny distance, but there's an argument for it. Like, just being with your team is so important here. But definitely the Raptors, it's way too much. I think if you just walked, you probably would have been here in time. And like, yeah, they shouldn't get engaged on, but as solo queue, you can't trust them anyway. Okay. Now, I think you probably just run. Because you have, I keep thinking Lily is Shyvana for some reason, but anyway, Lily's pushing bot. You have a pretty good angle here. I'd honestly consider looking at MF here, or Nami or something. I like this. This is a really good flank. Okay, yeah, I think it's good. Okay, nice. Okay, you played it sort of weirdly. So let me just slow this down again. I'm pretty sure you should just start this with an ER right here. I'm pretty sure that's how you should start it, but okay. You get Nami's flash anyway. And then, what did you flash here? You just flashed for no reason. I'm not sure why you flashed, but anyway. But that was like good by you. You had a flank, you hit a valuable target. Maybe could have been executed a little bit better, but I liked it. It was smart play. Now here also, I probably wouldn't go top. So like, once again, you still have Baron. They have, and like, you have your team back on the map. I think here, you're looking to play for this drag. Like, you could push out top because you have TP, but I think you should just be with your team. Like, just use this Baron. Like, you really don't want fights to be happening without you at this point because you're so... Yeah, okay, no, this is so bad. I think here, yeah. I mean, it's just that point in the game where efficiency just matters a lot less. Like, obviously, if you can get this farm for free, that's great, right? But, like, you guys have Baron. You really need to just, like, look to pressure with that. Like, if you're with this team, you know, you could cancel this MF ult. And, like, the fight is actually quite close without you because, like, their carry died, like, without you putting any damage onto anyone. So, I think if you were there, you guys win that fight. Or, you know, maybe it's close or whatever. What happened here? This looks strange. So I don't really like that. Like, you can kill Malphite, but I think here, you probably want to save your E a bit longer and just, like, wait for someone a bit more valuable. I would honestly queue towards this inhib and probably kill it. I think going for the Malphite here, it just makes things a lot scarier for you. Like, if Volibear just camps at the other end of this. Yeah, like, if Volibear just camps that, then you're kind of forced to ult because everyone's on you. But, like, the reality is now, it's like you've used your E, you used your ult, and you haven't hit Nami or Lux, right? So once again, like, all your cooldowns have been used on the tanks. I don't think you have really any threat here onto Lux. Yeah, no, you just die. So it's kind of bad, right? Like, you're just using your cooldowns on the wrong people when you kind of just need to hold them. Because the tanks, you can kill tanks as Yone, but they're not really what threatens you. Okay, but we got an inhib, so the game is pretty good, honestly. I mean, you're really, really strong. I'm not really a fan of what you did here. So, like, okay, if you're playing a champion with low DPS, champions like Zoe, Ahri, LeBlanc, then what you're doing here is really good because you don't contribute much to the Baron and you can ward people off, right? But you have such insanely high DPS to the Baron. In fact, you probably have the highest DPS, maybe Lilia has higher DPS to the Baron of anyone on your team. So if you're just hitting this, you kill it so much faster instead of just like, you know, you're trying to stop them, but you're not very good at stopping them, right? You're not a champion like that. Instead, you lose all your HP, and you DPS the Baron slower. Like, yeah, Wukong should have smited it, but I think that could have just been free for you. And once again, by the way, you just, like, lost all your health on useless targets, sort of. So right here, you should base TP, which you do. I think if you base TP, you could actually turn this around. I really like this. I really like this. Lux is right in front of you. Oh my god, yes, please hit Lux. Perfect. Perfect. Really good. I actually think, from what I've seen, your macro decision making is actually pretty good, but your kind of like skirmish decision making and like maybe in the moment decision making is kind of not that great. And I think that's more just because like you have the wrong sort of priorities. But I think for the most part, your macro decision making, you know, like when to TP, for the most part, like when to push side and farm, it's actually been quite good. So that's nice. That's really good. Holy fuck, you just got one shot. Okay, I would honestly not have expected that. But I guess she has 14 kills, so, you know, fair enough. Now you guys have 3 inhibs, so it should be pretty easy. Your team is going to... Oh, actually, only 2. 1 respawned. So you have Death Dance. I mean, I think you're really, really strong. This is 4th Drag. I think you have a really good angle here, and you don't really use it. So, like, right now, right? Like, MF is funneling through this choke. MF and Nami, oh my god, this is an ER of the century right here. Like, these 3, they're all dead on my screen. But instead, you're hitting Malphite. And I'm not sure if that's because you don't feel confident in your ult to hit it without queuing first. But I think that was, like, the targets you really want to kill were all there. Ulting Nami at this point, I feel like is sort of not worth it. I like the Q onto Nami, but I think you could probably save your ult for MF. So let's just see this again. I think, actually, you probably should have queued MF. I think she is a more valuable target than Nami, but this is pretty close. Like, that's a good second. I think ulting the Nami, though, is a bit much, and now you don't have much threat onto MF until you kind of have your stuff back. Yeah, I think if you play that fight a little bit better, you probably just win right there. It looks like you're going to win the fight anyway. He dies. Okay, yeah, I mean, pretty good. Pretty good. How is this game not over? Yeah, that was really end again. So looking at this, it's like, okay, if you're looking at like their team versus your team right now, it's like they're missing their Nami, but you're missing your Lucian. So like your team's missing someone way more valuable. And then again, it's like if you're doing this, it would at least be, I would hope, so that you're queuing onto MF. Instead, you're trying to knock up Malphite. Like, it's just not gonna... Even if you knock up Malphite, you're still gonna die. It's like you're not gonna do anything. You just die for free. Oh wait, do you loot? No, you die for free. So that's really bad, obviously. Skip ahead again. Holy shit, this game is crazy. But yeah, so there I would probably just... Wait, why can't I see Baron's health bar? Okay, whatever. I probably wouldn't ult that Volibear. Unless this Baron's like 1 HP, which it might be. I can't see the thing, but... I think... Oh, I can click it. Yeah, actually I think ulting him when it's really low is good. So that was nice, but it's a short cooldown at this point anyway. Okay, I think the game is finally over, right? This time queuing Malphite's fine because there's no one else valuable nearby. Yeah, this is all fine. Like, you can't reach anyone else here, and your cooldowns are short enough that this is okay, right? And like, MF's dead anyway. Now you're looking at Lux. Yeah, good. Yeah, I like that. Alright, GG. So, let's get up the notepad, write some stuff. Okay, so early game was pretty big. I think, like, cooldown punishment and / cooldown respecting is really, really big. I think also your wave control could be... Okay, there's like a lot of things. So the cooldown punishment and cooldown respecting, it's like, 1, you need to respect when you don't have your own cooldowns, and 2, you need to look to punish her when she doesn't have cooldowns. So if you are going to trade, I think you should probably do it when she doesn't have cooldowns, or you can do like those little short trades with like Q2 knock-up auto and go back, but then the only problem with that is that you're not going to have your abilities for like a long time, right? And then so you can get punished for it, which is why it's not super great. Your wave control, I think, could have been a little bit better. Like, I think you could maybe let it come a bit towards you, but that time I'm thinking is when like you based instead of, or sorry, you pushed the wave instead of basing with it pushing to you. That would have been a lot better. And I think don't push waves without a plan. You know, there's sometimes where you're just like pushing waves for free to her and you don't really do anything with the priority anyway. And most of those times it just wasn't anything to do with the prior. So like, it's just kind of giving her free waves. So there's also warding / hugging. So ward deeper and then hug towards your wards. So ideally, your wards are not in the line bushes. Once you get pinks, your pinks should be a bit further out and then your wards can be deeper in their jungle. But then you need to actually play towards your wards because, well, otherwise you die for free. Yeah, so you lost a lot in the early game due to this sort of stuff. trying to remember, was there anything else in the early game? I kind of don't really remember. You might actually have to go back and look. The game was pretty long. I guess like the base timings were a bit of a thing sometimes in the early game. But in the mid game, so I think there were times where you could push sideways a bit further in. Like if you crash under tower, it's ideal, right? I think you know that. And then also, yeah, like mid game base timings was a thing as well. So like if you have a lot of gold and there's an objective soon, just base. So like you can stay on the map with a lot of gold, but if there's an objective soon, then you should probably base because you really need to spend that gold. And then I think in the team fights, team fighting was a really big problem for you. So target prioritization, like it was actually prioritization. You kind of just like consistently went for the wrong targets. So something I say in my team fighting guide is like number your enemy team from 1 to 5. So it's like probably number 1 most threatening is MF, and then 2 is Lux, 3 is Nami, like in terms of how useful they are to the fight. I'd say like 4 is probably Malphite and 5 is Volibear. So if Volibear is the least useful member of their team, and there's that time here where you have a perfect flank onto like their number 1 priority target, and you're just ulting a 1 HP Volibear instead, like that's so bad. So I think if you think about that, make a really, really big difference. Yeah, I kind of feel like the team fighting was like a really big thing. I think also there were a couple times where you just go in a bit too early. I'd say like check your teammates' positions a bit. Like a bit more in the mid game, you know, like there's kind of times where you're like looking to queue in when you're a bit too far up. Oh, actually one thing is the post Baron. So post Baron, oh, there's actually 2 things. Okay, so first is the post fight. So if you have a fight, right, straight after the fight, you want to spread out as soon as you can to like farm more camps, farm more waves and stuff like that, right? So there's a time you won the Herald fight here, then you came mid and you shared gold and XP rather than like pushing the top wave, and then Wukong got it and you just like walked here randomly and it was really bad, right? So after you have a team fight, the first thing you should do is look to spread out and farm as much stuff as possible. Now, after you get Baron, you need to group up ASAP. So when you get Baron, efficiency is almost irrelevant. You just want to pretty much group like 4 mid, 1 bot, or like 4 bot, 1 mid, or even 5 man if you're really scared of their engage, and just be grouped and look to fight. So like you're looking for Raptors. You were a bit late on the base, but you did need your IE. Maybe you should just TP. Like, grouping with Baron is the only time, other than, like, dragons and stuff, where grouping is acceptable, or is, like, ideal, rather, optimal. So yeah, your post Baron was, like, really, really bad, because I think there's 1 fight here that you weren't a part of, and there was another fight here that you weren't a part of. And then, actually, in the fights, this fight, I remember you flanked, could have played a little bit better, but this fight was... I can't remember which fight was that. Yeah, no, that fight wasn't good because you used your cooldowns on the wrong target. So that was kind of the thing. I'll just like add that to here. Like save cooldowns for valuable targets. So I think that was pretty much it. Just quickly, kind of like for big things for you to work on. I think cooldowns in lane phase, just like yours and the opponent's, is really big. I think your trading and like thinking about how trades go, like you just basically don't want to get hit by Lux Q is really important. Your warding and hugging will make your early game quite a bit better. Base timings all throughout the game need to be improved. And then in the mid game, like just like team fighting, I think it's mainly like target prioritization. I think that is the most important. And then I'd say also your post Baron can be improved a lot. So I'd say these are kind of your biggest things. In my opinion, the ways to work on them. I think now that you're a bit more aware of this, you'll probably just do it more naturally. Warding and hugging is kind of something that like you just need to go back and like be really honest with yourself. Like, did I ward as well as I could have? Did I hug correctly? Team fighting, I think, again, now that you're aware of it, will be a lot easier. Same with the post Baron. Base timings is a lot harder to figure out. I think this is maybe the one here that's most difficult for you. I'd say, it's like either you need to go back and review your base timings, or you probably need to watch VODs and just like pay close attention to when and why people base. But that is the hardest one to improve here, and I think there's some other ones that can be improved first anyway. So I'll copy paste this to you. Let me know if you have any questions and if it was useful for you. And good luck on the climb, man.